Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Fight My Way, a South Korean television series from 2017 that is a romantic comedy. It is 16 episodes long, with each episode being approximately 60 minutes in length each. Now there are four main characters in this K-drama. You have Dongman Ko, a former taekwondo prodigy who was forced out of competition over 10 years ago due to some unfortunate circumstances. Nowadays, he works as a pest exterminator who must deal with his insufferable boss. Then you have Eira Choi, a strong and sassy girl who works as a department store employee at an information desk, but dreams of becoming an announcer. She's talented at this particular job, but frequently faces unwarranted humiliation during interviews when attempting to break free and move along with her announcing career. A friend of Dongman's since their childhood years, she starts to transition to become his love interest. Then you have Juman Kim, the most successful of the four leads. He landed a permanent position at a home shopping network, but finds that his relationship with his girlfriend is becoming stale. And his girlfriend is Sol-hee Baek, the most innocent and unambitious of the group. She works customer service at the same network as Juman, and for 6 years her universe has revolved around this man, and she is extremely in love with him. So those are the two couples that we follow in this series. Now, before I even begin to get into the details of what I liked and disliked about this K-drama, I'm going to tell you right now that Ji-won Kim is one of the most purely entertaining young actresses that I've seen in years. I absolutely love this actress. Now, I previously mentioned her when I was reviewing Horror Stories 1 and 2 on this channel. She only had minimal screen time in those films, but she made a pretty big impression on me. So when I saw that she was the lead actress in this popular and well-received K-drama from last year, I immediately watched it, because it would give me 16 hours to assess her talents. And after watching Fight My Way, my suspicions were confirmed. She's just absolutely fantastic. This woman can make me laugh so easily. Her comedic timing in particular is perfect. It's just perfect. Within the first 10 minutes of episode 1, you're going to realize that her charisma is just off the charts. She has the perfect blend of realistic, sassy, smart, and aggressive qualities that really kind of embody and breathe life into her character. And guess what? When she cries, she's totally convincing. And that's kind of a rarity, somebody who can cry really well, you don't see that often. She nails it. So Fight My Way, I would have to say, is worth watching for her alone, before I even get to anything else. I am going to watch every K-drama and movie that this woman stars in. Everything. Now, fortunately, Fight My Way has more good stuff outside of Ji-won's performance. In addition to the romantic comedy elements, which work so well because of the lead actress, the script also focuses quite a bit on the pressures of paving your way to personal success. And one of the big dilemmas for both couples, actually, is weighing the importance of that success with romance and family life. I mean, it's essentially life-work balance, right? And actually, the relationship between Juman and Sol-hee, the secondary relationship, so to speak, is a secret working relationship. None of their fellow employees know that they're having this romance, which creates some interesting scenarios. Now, I previously mentioned that the male lead, Dongman, was a former taekwondo prodigy, and that story does become relevant fairly early on and throughout, because one of his high school rivals has become a successful mixed martial arts fighter. Now, as a viewer, I found this to be an enjoyable storyline, but it was also probably the least interesting among the four main characters. And I was a little bit worried at one point that the show would focus too much on it, but thankfully, this show balances all of the stories very nicely, and it wasn't a problem. Because I forgot which episode it was. One of the earlier episodes, it takes maybe 20 or 30 minutes straight to kind of really introduce and ramp up this MMA story. And I was like, boy, is this going to be the main thing? And it's an important subplot or plot to the film, but it's just a component of it, so that's good. Now, the last K-drama I reviewed on this channel was Stranger, which did an unusually great job of avoiding K-drama cliches. Now, as you might expect, Fight My Way, on the other hand, has more cliches present. There was one in episode 6 that had me kind of rolling my eyes a little bit. It's one you see quite often. There are definitely some contrivances and improbable coincidences that pop up to kind of help drive conflict between the characters, but it only happens occasionally. Only occasionally, and the show is more than entertaining enough to, to live with them, to help you live with them. They don't overpower the show, so that's a good thing. And speaking of cliches, this is one I haven't mentioned yet on this channel, I don't think. The supporting actress, who's quite good, does the K-drama baby voice cliche, where she talks like a 5-year-old even though she's in her 20s. This one, this cliche kind of grates on my nerves. I understand, I like cutesy stuff, but I don't know, it's a problem sometimes, and it is a little bit of a problem for me in this show. But sometimes it's used for comedic effect, and I think it works in that sense. So you get kind of both the good and the bad here regarding that cliche. But again, it's not used enough, I don't think, to be a serious problem. Now, one interesting thing that I noticed is that Fight My Way actually executes the love triangle in a slightly unconventional way. Now, if you're familiar with K-dramas, you know that we usually get either like a love triangle or a love square. Actually, the love square seems to be more prevalent in the K-dramas that I've seen, because we frequently see like the potential couple or main couple in the show, and then you'll always have like a male secondary character who's trying to woo the female lead, and then the female secondary character who's trying to woo the male lead. And a lot of times the main relationship isn't solidified yet. So you have like that love square of potential romance. But there is no love square in Fight My Way between the 4 main characters. They're paired off very, very rigidly. There's no cross romance there. But there are love triangles. Now, remember, the primary focus in this show are the 2 main couples and their friendship as a group. But there are people outside of the main 4 characters who try to muscle their way in and play homewrecker and try to break up the relationships. But the interesting thing is that some of these love interests are around for the entire show, while others just disappear after a few episodes. Like, there'll be somebody who comes in, tries to play homewrecker, and then they're outed. Like, one of the main characters understands that they're a slime ball within like 3 episodes, and then they're jettisoned. So I kind of like that, because you don't see that quite as often in K-dramas, so I liked how it mixed it up there. And it also creates a lot of drama, because these love interests frequently use like underhanded, manipulative efforts trying to break up the romance. It's kind of like the soap opera-ish element of the show. But it does get an emotional reaction from the viewer, usually hate. Some of these side characters are pretty aggravating, and it's good. The show does a good job of making them that way, because it's intentional. And in terms of the romance itself, I liked how it was written, because our characters usually argue about things that are understandable from both perspectives. At least one of these relationships is definitely on shaky ground on a fundamental level, and you start to see problems there, meaning that both people are basically at fault. And there were many times in the show where I would switch sides as to who was being difficult, just like relationships in real life, right? So it does create a little bit of complexity, and I appreciated that. And I think most viewers may not expect that out of a romantic comedy, so it's good. And definitely, I recommend Fight My Way. If you're a fan of K-dramas that are romantic comedies, this seems to be one of the more popular ones from last year, which is why I watched it, along with Ji-won Kim, of course. So this is currently available on Drama Fever and Viki, if you're interested in it. Check it out. It's a good one. And as always, I will see you next time.